stream our rooms. Okay? You can hear it on the YouTube video. On your phone.
Weird.
Oh, it is weird. It is weird. We have a room going on here.
Wait, how is that more? How is that not more? Wait, Andrew, please hold on. Jesus Christ was crucified, came back from the dead after 3 days in hell, and you think me doing yoga, working out on YouTube is weird?
Something Dittman. Andre Dittman, or what is it?
Adrian Dittman.
No, come on, Congress. What's
You talking about Adrian Dittman is Elon Musk, and I was copying him, cloning him.
You've been doing that for 3 years, bro.
Well, not anymore. Now I'm officially creating content under candidate Congressman John Kitover.
You came into a room and said, you guys are all part of my movie.
Yeah, you are. You're all over my YouTube, my Instagrams. You've been putting together brain trust rooms or brain rot rooms for years, Andrew. I've been recording.
The problem is you don't have any subscribers.
Well, we're getting there. We're close to 5,000 across 30 different accounts. I expect over the next couple of years we'll be at 15, 30,000.
It looks like 87
subscribers.
Converse. He had 4 people watching his live feed, and he's sitting there listening to our show for broadcasting our show.
He's like,
Yeah, thanks for putting together the Brain Rot Trust. You're doing a great job.
Well, so
Andrew's live right now.
We're live right now on YouTube.
He's got one person watching.
what's up, Lotus? What do you want to say?
Well, I came to the stage to say that this guy's been doing this in many other rooms. It's not just this room.
Yeah, he's schizophrenic.
He's literally.
It's not schizophrenic that I want to record what I'm listening to and put it on YouTube from platform to platform. I hate to say that it's not schizophrenic.
Nobody even watching it. You were sitting there with your shirt off, like sweating profusely, with like a Snoop Dogg hat on in a concrete bunker.
What's a Snoop Dogg hat?
Playing hard, playing hour.
And I'm not in a bunker. I'm in my apartment. Sorry that you don't like the baby blue walls. Why do I do it? Why does Andrew do this?
You had a large store.
Why don't you like what I do? But why do you like what other people do?
Why would you stream it? Like, why would you do that? What are you
It's
going to
really
get out of it?
weird.
Why wouldn't I do it? I'm running for Congress. I need content.
He's running for Congress with his shirt off in a bunker.
You think people
I'm not in a bunker, and there's nothing wrong with having my shirt off and exercising for health.
It would totally make sense if you had 50 followers watching, but you'll have one, which makes it even all the more weird.
Got it.
Sitting there,
And that's his cousin.
My cousin? What are you talking about, my cousin?
He's listening to our room live. I literally tuned in to his thing live, and he was listening to us live. Okay? It was weird. And I was like, this is weird.
Wait,
so
Andrew, you do realize that some people who listen to what you guys talk about might also think that it's extremely weird. Not just me, but what you talk about.
With our shirts off in concrete, okay.
Concrete bunkers. I live in an apartment and I work out at the gym and sometimes I sweat.
Do you have the Israeli flag?
Yeah, I got the Israeli. I did a birthright trip there, when I was a kid. Early college, I went to Israel and met with Palestinians and met with Israelis.
You seem like you're actually saying some honest stuff. So let's see, somewhat. So do some of the heads of Israel, some of the people that are in power there, have they given quotes saying they want to wipe out the Palestinians? Have they ever said anything like that?
Show it to me and then I can confirm it. Hello?
Yeah, he's definitely a Zioar.
A lot of these people, they don't even know the term Zionist.
This guy literally called Amir and he's up and the mods there.
Yeah, terrorists. They're terrorist supporters. That's a fact.
Yeah, he's a psycho, dog.
This is insane. What are you gonna get out of this? I'm really curious. What is exactly your goal for doing all of this? You're doing too much.
Well, that's the exact. See, I'm just mirroring and copying and cloning what everybody else is doing and just putting it on YouTube, and it's upsetting people. I wonder why that is.
I would call it running for Congress as much as meandering for Congress.
Well, there you go, meandering, running. I'm trying to unseat and defeat Darren LaHood in the 16th district. I need your donations. I need your likes. I need your comments. I need your shares. And since no one on this app actually organizes anything and nobody's ever accomplished anything from this app, and if I get into George Santos was from Clubhouse. He just got pardoned by Trump. I haven't engaged in any type of financial improprieties with the money we've raised. We've only raised $600 off of Clubhouse. So there's a small chance I get into Congress. There's a small chance I win the March 17th primary. But at least I'm doing something. I'm trying to be productive. And my rabbi told me, John, be productive.
What a weirdo. Honestly.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not sure this is working, because it almost feels like you're trying too hard. Because you gotta think about it, like, we get basically more people in here on the average day talking about a boring topic than you got on, like, your entire...
Listen, I hate to tell you this, but you haven't gone through my analytics of my 40 plus YouTube accounts, 50 plus Instagram accounts. I'm generating hundreds of thousands of views, millions of views every couple months. So I don't know who you are and what you do, but if you want to talk about business sometime, we can. You don't have to just insult me because I'm here in this room and just make fun of me for what I'm doing. We could actually maybe try to be productive.
Why is that an insult? Because I'm trying to, like, you know...
No, Andrew calls me a Zionist schizophrenic and tries to put all the blame of Israel's, war on me and crime and violence. It's like, I'm just a fucking guy running for Congress here, and you guys are sitting here yelling at me, are the Israelis genocidal Zionists? Like, get a grip, Andrew. Christ is king. He's the savior of mankind, and you're sitting here still complaining about war in 2025?
Andrew
You're
says
sure not sweating in a bunker. That's just...
I'm not in a bunker, and I work out on YouTube. I try to set the example. Do any of you overweight peoples touch your toes, do yoga, lift weights, go jogging? Anybody here work out?
Yeah, I do. But anyway, I never said that stuff about you that you attributed to me and Andrew. But I'll just say that, like, I think you're a completely normal guy. I think.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Normal average Joe running for Congress.
Exactly. Normal people do what you do, basically.
Converse is hosted debates on modern day debate. That's what's got way more followers, viewers than anything you're doing, candidate. And if you look at the stuff you do, I suggest, I implore people that are curious, just go check out his YouTube channel. It's some creepy stuff. And
okay, we'll post a link to what is creepy. Don't just say it's all creepy. Let me know specifically what's creepy.
Your light, I'll tell you specifically, your shirt is off. You're doing weird stuff with filters. You look like you're sweating. You look like you're in a concrete bunker with Israel.
He's doing like yoga on those mats.
Yeah, maybe that's what he's doing. I don't know. And then you're live streaming out.
Organized as anything.
And then you're coming into our rooms, often going, hey guys, and being weird. And doing all that weird voice stuff that you do. You've been doing that for 3 years, bro. So and you can't actually just engage in a normal, level-headed, reasonable conversation for more than, I don't know. I mean, you and I once talked for about 45 minutes, and you were actually somewhat normal. Then people started coming in, and you got weird. It's like you have to get weird when there's people watching. It's very weird. You can't just have a normal... You do realize that for many years I have observed that on Clownhouse, when people have no more valid points to make, they just start saying the word weird. So you just weird. So you start just weird. This is getting weird. What you're saying is a little weird. Your opinions are weird, and what you're saying is weird. This whole thing has gotten to be very weird.
I think you're gonna get elected, man.
Weird. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Especially if you use that voice that you just used right now. You're definitely...
Candidate, is Israel guilty of committing genocide? It's weird. Weird. Okay, this is called That's Weird. Because, Zap creates a lot of weird content. Hey, Artful. Sorry, I was just in a room and it was a little weird. Okay, that's weird. Nobody's coming. Why isn't anybody coming to my room? That's weird. This is weird.
By Jews who had no interest in unbiased partisan information. The news, the television itself is a method of warfare, psychological warfare. There's no such thing as we're doing this thing unbiased. Now, the best brand of journalism that has ever happened, anybody know a man by the name of Gary Webb? Y'all heard of Gary Webb?
No.
Don't kill the messenger.
Good luck with
And
that,
since
sir.
no one on this app actually organizes anything, and nobody's ever accomplished anything from this app, and if I get into Congress, see, George Santos was from Clubhouse. He just got pardoned by Trump. I haven't engaged in any type of financial improprieties with the money we've raised. We've only raised $600 off of Clubhouse. So there's a small chance I get into Congress. There's a small chance I win the March 17th primary. But at least I'm doing something. I'm trying to be productive. And my rabbi told me, John, be productive.
What a weirdo, honestly.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not sure this is working. It almost feels like you're trying too hard. Because you gotta think about it, like, we get basically more people in here on the average day talking about a boring topic than you got on, like, your entire...
Listen, I hate to tell you this, but you haven't gone through my analytics of my 40-plus YouTube accounts, 50-plus Instagram accounts. I'm generating hundreds of thousands of views, millions of views every couple months. So I don't know who you are and what you do, but if you want to talk about business sometime, we can. You don't have to just insult me because I'm here in this room and just make fun of me for what I'm doing. We can actually maybe try to be productive.
Well, I'm gonna insult. Because I'm trying to, like, you know...
No, Andrew calls me a schizophrenic and tries to put all the blame of Israel's, war on me and crime and violence. It's like, I'm just a fucking guy running for Congress here, and you guys are sitting here yelling at me, I'm the Israelis, genocidal Zionists. Like, get a grip, Andrew. Christ is king. He's the savior of mankind, and you're sitting here still complaining about war in 2025?
Andrew says that.
You're not sweating in a bunker. That's just...
I'm not in a bunker, and I work out on YouTube. I try to set the example. Do any of you overweight peoples touch your toes, do yoga, lift weights, go jogging? Anybody here work out?
Yeah, but anyway, I never said this about you that you attributed to me and Andrew. But, I'll just say that, like, I think you're a completely normal guy. I think...
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, normal average Joe running for Congress.
Exactly. Normal people do what you do, basically.
Converse is like hosted debates on a modern day debate. That's what's got way more followers, viewers than anything you're doing, candidate. If you look at the stuff that you do, I suggest, I implore people that are curious, just come check out his YouTube channel. It's some creepy stuff. And
okay, we'll post a link to what is creepy. Don't just say it's all creepy. Let me know specifically what's creepy.
Your live, I'll tell you specifically, your shirt is off. You're doing weird stuff with filters. You look like you're sweating. You look like you're in a concrete bunker with Israel.
You're doing like yoga on this mat.
Are you tired of spending more and more of your hard-earned money on everyday necessity?
Subject without being distracted by all that's going on around us, whilst still being aware, and therefore act accordingly, appropriately, given the circumstances, with equanimity. So as you see, all of this goes towards building this quality of upeka, equanimity. The foundations of practice, moral virtue, and then the simply discipline of sitting and meditating for at least an hour in the morning when you wake up, and an hour in the evening before you go to sleep. And if you have the opportunity during the day, half an hour here, half an hour there, or an hour, or on your days off, 3 hours sitting, just practicing to concentrate. What this leads to is, without even thinking about it, it leads to samasati, right mindfulness. It keeps your mind concentrated, your thinking brain rather, concentrated on what's happening now in the present moment, here, in what you're doing and what is happening around you. And whilst focused on that, you are exercising mindfulness. This is mindfulness, being aware in the present moment, here and now, of each and every action of body, speech and mind you are doing, and all that you're seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and the thoughts you are having. Being aware of those as they're happening in the present moment, rather than recalling and remembering all that's gone on prior to that moment, the past, and imagining all that might happen after that moment, the future. Because the past cannot be changed and the future hasn't happened yet and may not. So it is the present moment and your actions of body, speech and mind that are so very important. And this is mindfulness. And this skill, this quality of samasati, mindfulness, another of the factors of enlightenment, is so very important. It is why we hold it in such high regard, because it is this that leads to wisdom, panya. We're seeing in reality the truth of existence, how experience of life is in every detail. All we experience, everything is impermanent. All conditioned things are impermanent. Anicca is the Pali word for that. All conditioned things are unsatisfactory dukkha, and all conditioned things are out of our control. The not self, even this physical body and this thinking brain, we have no real control over. We can only create causes and conditions for its perceived comfort, but we cannot control disease, illness that might afflict it. We cannot control emotions, positive or negative, that may come and go in the thinking brain, and may consequently even affect our health. This is going to just happen, but we can observe it and put a little distance between that which is observing this and the physical body and thinking brain, focusing on citta, the mind, the witness of this, the observer. This development, this overall practice is what leads to upekkha, equanimity. It's very much one of the most important factors of enlightenment. Like all of these lists, Buddhist lists, these words, the 7 factors of enlightenment, or the 4 noble truths, or the noble eightfold path, these are all to be practiced holistically in conjunction with each other, and all interrelate with each other as representative of the nature of karma, in that all of our actions of body, speech and mind, actions, the Pali word for which is karma, have results, the Pali word for which is vipaka. So karma vipaka is the results of our actions, being the actions of our body, speech and mind, which is all we have to do anything with, isn't it? And that is going to have, or be the cause, pachaya, the Pali word again, the cause for the consequences, the results, vipaka. So mindfulness equanimity, concentration, wisdom. These are all factors on the path. All factors of enlightenment, to attain to which we follow this path of sila, samadhi, panya, moral virtue, meditation, the development of wisdom, coming from keeping the precepts and focusing the mind, concentration. So the very important thing that we do if we want equanimity is we keep precepts and we meditate. Now, if you're not keeping precepts or you're not meditating, it doesn't matter how much I talk about equanimity, it's just talk, it's just words, which are useless. It's convention. It doesn't matter how much you study upeka, read about it. It's just stories, it's words on a page. We develop it as a quality, like we develop the quality of vipassana, seeing clearly. Through samadhi, through concentration, we've developed mindfulness. So after periods of absorbed, focused samadhi, which can lead to blissful states, peaceful states, which is why many begin to practice meditation in the first instance, we come out refreshed with a clear, empty, thinking brain, a clear mind, a peaceful mind, able to see more clearly the characteristics of then what follows through sense contact, through experience, the characteristics ever present in all conditioned things of anicca, dukkha, anatta. All the more clearly. This is the truth of what vipassana means, to see clearly. And in that, if something breaks that we were very fond of, or even when someone dies that we love dearly and was close to us, we'll have equanimity. Because although it might come out of the blue, be a shock, be unexpected, we know through the wisdom we have developed that all things are impermanent. Those we love, we will be parted from as they will be parted from us. All conditioned things are subject to anicca, dukkha, anatta. This is a foundation for equanimity. So, I hope that's enough on equanimity for you, mate. How to deal with boredom. Well, don't deal with it. Appreciate it. What is boredom? Ask yourself, what is it? It's either, and usually, you'll answer to yourself to that question, what is boredom? So firstly, you have an emotion, don't you? You feel bored, which is linked really to aversion. It's not wanting things to be the way they are. So one of these defilements, the core defilements, root defilements that lead to our suffering, our dissatisfaction in life, is hatred. And in its varying degrees, from just disliking to hating, or even, well, preferring not to really despising and hating, then it all comes under the category of ill will or disliking or aversion or hatred. We have greed, we have hatred and delusion. And if we also have still this defilement of greed, wanting always something rather than what we need, then when there is nothing to be done, when there is nothing to be had, when we don't need to feed ourselves, to be tasting, when we don't need to be experiencing anything, we'll have this sense of aversion to that. We're not able to satisfy greed without simply saying, I've had enough of doing nothing, I'm going to distract myself with something else by doing something, by watching something, by entertaining myself with something. This question probably comes about as a result of you practicing or trying to practice. And finding it boring because there's no stimulation. If you're keeping those 8 precepts, at first the afternoon may seem long and boring because you're used to not just being in the present moment with mindfulness and seeing what there really is to be seen, which isn't boring because you have so much to look into, to delve into. So we don't deal with boredom, but we see and we understand what is boredom. Now, if you just have nothing to do, no money to spend, nowhere to go, no people to talk to, you might call this boredom. But if you see that as the opportunity to take that solitude and to use that time to practice meditation, and if you're keeping precepts, then this will no longer be boring. It will be a great opportunity to practice. And that's all we're talking about here. And the most common obstacle in the way of practice for people is time and availability to sit and meditate. So people say, but that's just the defilements speaking. That's just excuses because people just don't want to be bothered to meditate. Because we all have time to meditate. We can all find an hour at the beginning of the day. We just wake up an hour earlier. We can all find an hour at the end of the day. We just go to sleep an hour later. If you were watching a good movie, you'd stay up an hour later to see the end. If you were going away on holiday and had to catch an early flight, you'd get up an hour earlier to do that. You wouldn't suffer in the meantime through tiredness and become ill and die. No. Because you had a reason, a good cause, you think. Entertainment, distraction. But when you come to see the satisfaction that is to be had and all that can be generated through the practice of samadhi, meditation, that too will be enough encouragement just to have a couple of hours less sleep. And after all, we're trying to discourage too much sleep. If you sleep 12 hours every night, that's half your life asleep, wasted, gone. Hey, you might consider it great. I love sleep. I want to just sleep all of my life. Okay. But Buddha means awake, not asleep. You may say, I have lucid dreams, it's all mystical, it's just imagination, it's just dreams, it's just that. It's not developing any of these qualities we're referring to. It's not leading towards enlightenment. There were no sleeping Buddhas. Buddha means awake, the awakened one. Our Buddha in this Buddha Sasana encouraged us to sleep little, eat little or just enough, and really speak little. So you're turning this idea of boredom on its head, not dealing with it, you're just seeing it with a different perspective as the great opportunity to practice. If you're finding the practice itself boring, then this is because you're not practicing in accordance with the instructions the Buddha is giving us. So I think if you look back at the recent weeks, there's a video on how to meditate and just the simple instructions the Buddha gives us on anapanasati, how to watch the breath in meditation. When you are able to do this, well, we're all able to do this correctly, when you have the inclination, you make the effort to do this, to practice this, you will almost instantaneously see the benefits of it and reap those benefits, the results of that practice. Become invigorated, not only while sitting in meditation, but with the increased level of mindfulness throughout the rest of your day. A heightened sense of awareness, conscious awareness, vijnana. Colors will become more vivid, sounds brighter, tastes deeper, more complex, feelings, you'll become more sensitive. But more importantly, your thinking brain, thought process will become focused, wiser, more ready to accept all conditions you experience with the truth behind them, therefore understand them with equanimity, with mindfulness, but also with contentment, rather than wishing things to be other than they are, letting go of those unwholesome desires to change what cannot be changed, and accept that your experience is just that, and it will change of its own accord. And this is contentment, and from this is born happiness, real happiness, not distraction from what we don't like, but focused joy on all we experience. So where, even in a very simple room, where is boredom? What is it? How is it manifested? It's manifested through our own thinking process. We've given it this word, we've invented this word to describe an emotion of not having enough to do. Whereas most people's obstacles to the practice is saying, I have too much to do. So you have a wonderful opportunity there. Not something to deal with, but to be appreciated and used. Enjoy. Someone suggests bug screens might be a useful idea. Well, mosquito nets, bug screens, all this kind of thing are very much used in these parts of the world. Personally, I've always found that if you have the availability of a fan, or you're sitting outside where there's a breeze, so you're sitting on the coast by the sea, then the bugs won't trouble you. Once you start enclosing where you're staying, your room you're in, with nets and screens, you more often than not trapping the bugs inside. And you'll often see that's when people start slapping and killing mosquitoes, breaking those precepts, or using sprays and this kind of thing that harms them, because they're unable to get away, they can't escape. They'll leave you alone when there are fans and there's places to go. But yes, I'm not going to start shutting up all of the whole roof is open. The roof does not touch the top of the walls. So to completely enclose this building, one would have to create netting around the whole structure. And then it only takes one mosquito to get in. It will find your ear and buzz in your ear, regardless of how many screens or how much netting you have. Now, like I said, there are many mosquitoes here at this time of the day. The rain has just finished. It's their peak time. There's water on the ground. But I'm sitting under a fan, which I hope isn't making too much noise. It's quite quiet. I do also have a mosquito coil, which is a repellent, albeit it's probably unnecessary. All the doors and everything and the windows are open around me, as is the roof. I can see the mosquitoes in the distance around the lights. They're not bothering me. And if they do, I let them take their little bit of blood and go. We develop equanimity rather than trying to run away and hide from everything. If I'm sleeping outside or sleeping somewhere where there's mosquitoes, literally I wrap this whole robe. This is what I use. This is my bedding as well as what I wear. It's all I have. I don't have bedding, sheets, pillows, mattresses, blankets, any of this stuff. It would just be damp and moldy very quickly if I had such things here. But I just don't. It's not necessary for a monk. We have these 3 robes. The outer robe, the double thickness one, I use as a headrest or a pillow. And this upper robe here, I can wrap around my entire body and over my head and still breathe okay. And it protects me from mosquitoes, flies and bugs in the night. But as many screens, whatever screens you have, they'll get in. You have to open the door to get in yourself. Many will fly in at that point in time. Then what do you do? So thank you for your suggestion, but I think I've lived in Asia now for long enough to know from my own experience, it's just a headache and trouble if you try to screen them out. If you have a hermetically sealed little room in a hotel or something like that, then it's feasible. You've got one window, one door, and there's usually a sort of an ante-room, a hallway or a porchway, something outside of those. So it can work. But in these open air environments, it's not so practical. So, why haven't you, here we go. Why haven't you stopped the cat from killing the creature? Also, should we allow such acts when we are witnessing, or should we try to save the creatures? I'm glad that came up because it's, yes, so right, let me just read that again. Why haven't you stopped the cat from killing the creature? Okay, so I think there was one of the cats was killing, and none of these are my cats, they're just other people's cats that come and go in my kuti and in here, have become friends. I give them little names, just that's not their names. I give them little nicknames which reflect their personalities. They all have different personalities, and it's just it's probably a defilement of mine, coming from one of those defilements. Delusion, I should think, that I believe they respond to those names, whereas they're just responding to the sound of a human voice and thinking, food, potential food, and safety, and love. So why haven't I stopped the cat from killing the creature? I think it was killing some flying creature, or trying to, whilst we were talking. Well, I think it was either too late or it wasn't practical to do so. But where it is practical to do so, and where I can, I do try my best to not teach or train them, but help them not to kill. So last night I heard some rustling around and had an inclination as to what it might be, and it was indeed Squeaky Pops wrestling with a rat in my washroom area, which often happens in the night. It'll find one outside in the jungle and bring it in and then play with it. So it isn't necessarily even for food, although they do, if you don't attend to the situation, do devour most of the internal organs of these creatures. But the playing with it and the ripping it apart is all very unpleasant. So in this instance, I do try and rescue the rat, popping Squeaky Pops out of a window or putting it outside and quickly catching the rat before Squeaky Pops very quickly finds its way back in again and tries to continue its game. And this can take up many of my hours and does so. But yes, I do try and save the creature. And when we're witnessing, should we try and save the creatures if it's appropriate to do so? Now, in this case, it is to some extent interfering with nature, because the cat has to learn, if I wasn't here, to give it some alternative source of food to feed itself and to feed its family and to feed its children. So, or to feed itself so it can feed its children through breastfeeding or whatever, cats, or whatever you call it with cats. So one doesn't interrupt that, doesn't interfere with that process. If you have a domestic cat that you adopt from its birth until it dies, you feed it every day, it lives in your home and doesn't go out hunting, this is okay. But if these are feral wild cats, where you can, you feed them, and that then gives them the opportunity not to have to go out and kill. But you have to accept that it is nature that they will go out and kill, and retain those skills, hone those skills, if you can call them skills, but you know, that natural instinct to gather food, hunter-gathering instinct, which is after all their only way to survive and for their offspring to survive. So we don't interfere with that. So as long as we're not interfering with that, we can, yes, save the rat, save the bird, the butterfly. And one does this carefully, maintaining the balance of nature. If you can rescue the rat and then take it far away so that the cat would take, and then come back and give the cat some alternative food, it's had the chase, it's had the training, it's come back, it's getting the food. Not as a reward, but so as it's distracted enough for the rat to have time to get away. So, yes, but, you know, what are we doing? What are we saying here? Why haven't you stopped the cat from killing the creature? And also, should we allow such acts? This is just nature. There are humans killing humans all over the world. Killing is unfortunately the worst side of hatred, the worst side of delusion, and coming as a result of greed. So it's the worst example of our defilements, greed, hatred, and delusion in manifestation of murder, of killing, even genocide. So as we can keep our own precepts of not killing, the first precept is to refrain from killing. You can expand upon that to harming any living creatures or sentient beings. But specifically, if nothing was to kill, then that would be as a result of there being no greed, hatred, and delusion. Therefore, all sentient beings being enlightened. Now, in the animal kingdom, it's very difficult for their survival. This is why it's very difficult for a cat or a dog or any hunter-gatherer animal in nature to attain to enlightenment without rebirth into a realm whereby they can avoid killing and keep precepts and see the fruits of practice, having listened to or been in contact with Dharma. So monastery cats, monastery dogs, monastery animals, we, where possible, interrupt any killing that might be going on. We keep them fed, and we're therefore giving them an opportunity that they might not ordinarily have out in the wild to lead a better life in that existence, in that lifetime, which may well lead to a better rebirth, into an opportunity whereby they may be reborn into the human realm and have contact with Dharma and be able to keep precepts and be able to progress towards enlightenment. So whilst monastery dogs and cats mightn't necessarily get enlightened in this lifetime, speaking of which, here comes one now, they are given the opportunity to live a life that may lead to a better rebirth into a life where they can attain to enlightenment. But we cannot assume that. It can always be the case that through previous lives, all their parami has qualities that have been built up, are leading towards enlightenment. But through some unpaid bad karma of the past, in past distant lives that cannot be recalled, they may have to suffer a short life or a long life as a cat. But as a result of those good qualities, have been born as a cat into a monastery environment such as this. And this cat that's just come in, Spotty Dotty, it's Squeaky Pops who likes to do the killing, but this cat that comes in, Spotty Dotty, I've never seen killing. So maybe Spotty Dotty has the parami of previous lifetimes
for family. That's
and qualities, and can refrain from killing during this existence, in this lifetime, in the monastery, which I fear may be a short existence because it looks like a rather unhealthy cat, despite it having the same food and opportunities physically. It looks always a bit weak and frail. And that does give me some understanding, not belief. This isn't mysterious to me, rebirth. It's par for the course. It's part of nature.
NFL legend.
It's something we come to understand, not believe in, through our own experience of what we see within this lifetime and the experience of our own lifetime. And there, to me, is evidence of a creature born into the form of a cat, albeit it might be only for a short lifespan,
Why do you think he left?
but will surely go on to a better rebirth. And if now she's making an appearance, Spotty Dotty can refrain from killing throughout this lifetime,
His laundry, his
could
dishes,
even,
cook for him.
What do you think you
as
didn't do?
he's come to the
I don't
Santa
know.
Dharma now, become
Maybe that's a little
enlightened.
high maintenance.
Who knows?
So what does that
So
look
yeah,
like?
when witnessing this, of course we should try to save the creatures if we can, as long as it's not detrimental to the natural order of life. It's always okay to save a creature from being killed, but do make sure that you don't prevent or interrupt the natural process. So this, remember, a cat you might see killing a rat, maybe killing that rat because it needs nutrition to feed 6 other cats. So you stop it killing the rat, 6 of its children, kittens, may die of starvation, you know? So your interruption could cause killing, not directly, but be the cause and consequence for a number of deaths. So you must be very careful about the balance of nature. And yes, you rescue the rat and you give the cat some alternative nutrition, some food. And that's okay. Wisdom, mindfulness, equanimity. It's all there, isn't it, in our actions of body, speech and mind.
Let's begin with the largest.
It's all coming from this practice of Sila Samadhi Panya. It's helping nature, it's helping the world, it helps the universe. So thank you for that comment and that question. And he's gone to such an enjoyment right now, knowing that the time for feeding is coming up, I expect. On that note, I hope there's something useful there you can put into practice. If not, just let it go. Don't worry about it. But please come back again. Keep sending in your comments and questions. And until next time, be happy and stay well. Suki Hoto.
And how will you answer to Germany if you don't?
Let's begin with if you're a small content creator.
Let's get fiscal. Lesson 1, savings strike. New to finances, learn to master your money with Credit Karma today for a stronger tomorrow. A high-yield savings account from Credit Karma Money can help you smash your savings goals with way more interest than the national average, getting you way closer to your future wheels. Harness the power of Credit Karma today to win your financial future tomorrow.
Everything goes through the White House. At least this White House it does. And we'll have to see what happens. But if he does that, would have a little bit of a chance, but not much. Because it looks like the lead is not a great lead, but it's big enough that he should be able to win. So, I don't know that I want to get involved. It's really a question of would I rather have a Democrat or a communist? And I would rather have a Democrat than a communist.
Will you speak to Mom Donnie if he wins?
I'll speak to him. I love New York. I've always loved New York. You live in Chicago. This is your sign to park your car in the bike lane. Where are the bikers trying to go? Nowhere important. Probably just to hang out with woodland creatures in the woods and frolic through the fields, probably. Know where that matters.
Who wants to go? Who wants to do? I bring on to you right now. Take 3 steps.
Hello and
I
welcome.
shoot you right between your eyes, and I'll shoot you in the dick. This fucking guy, I don't even know if he got a dick.
Trying this traditional Sri Lankan coconut oil lamp that they use to offer light to the Buddha Rupa here. One of the pressing cars, elderly lady in a short absence where I went away. I've been offering this each day. I thought it might sustain itself more readily against the fan than the cat and the candle. But it's just coming to the end of its oil, so we'll see how it goes. And the camera seems a lot closer today. I'm not sure quite why, but I hope you can see me okay. The first comment or question after the nice comments, I would love to hear about your daily routine, as your minimal lifestyle is very inspiring to me. So, I've spoken about this just recently already, and I think I'm getting a little bit of a backlog on the comments here, so this may have already been talked about, but just to elaborate further on that, which is I think what you're asking, is well, my daily routine is quite, what's your word? Minimal. So it's simplistic, I would suggest. My last run through my daily routine was my normal 3, 6, 9, 12, 3, 6, 9, 12 reminder. So I wake at 3, puja at 6, Pindapata 6:30, hospital dharma around at around 7:30, returning here for 8 o'clock to share any remaining food and prepare for my meal at 8:30, taking me till 9, when I have a period of cleaning, a little more sweeping. Sometimes there's sweeping at other times throughout the day, maybe when I first wake at 3, just to ensure that any sand and leaves are out of the way of where we walk. The afternoon from around 9:30, 10 o'clock, or late morning is clear. Often that's my time for correspondence, just checking through these comments here and emails, replying to those directly. Up until around 12 o'clock. There's usually time for a cup of coffee in the morning then. There's plenty of time, of course. There's no other real responsibilities. Usually visitors wouldn't come in the morning, but if they do, it would be around late morning after the mealtime and clear up is finished. In the afternoon, 12 till 3 is either rest or meditation time. But then again, 3 till 6, maybe some sweeping, gardening, that which we're allowed to do as bhikkhus, duties anyway, watering mainly, and sweeping, watering and sweeping, sweeping and watering, till 6, well, it's evening puja, through till 6:30, taking us through to meditation time again, up until about 9 o'clock, 10, 11, 12. So that's my routine, sleeping any time between 10, 11, 12, and waking again the next day at 3. But you'll hear the Buddha describe the 3 watches of the night. So rather than my dividing the day up into 3 hours, 3-hourly slots, he divides the morning, the day and the night into 2 sections of 4-hour slots. So a monk, a bhikkhu, bhikkhuni, or a nun's day begins at dawn. So the period between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m., or approximately 5 to 5:30 a.m., which is what we call dawn. Dawn here in Asia is usually roughly, being that it's on the equator, around the same time, at around 5:30 in the morning, as is sunset at around 6 o'clock in the evening, the same time each day, being closer to the equator. So it's easier for us to have a stable routine based around daylight and nighttime, dark. The Buddha describes the 3 watches of the night as being from 6 in the evening until 10, so once it gets dark, until 10 o'clock, the first 4 hours. That's the first 4 hours of maybe puja and meditation. Then from 10 until 2, which should be usually put aside for rest, for sleep. This was in the time of the Buddha and what suited his own practice and the Sangha, his developing Sangha. So 6 till 10, 10 till 2, and then 2 till 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 11, 12. 1, I think I've got this wrong. Anyway, the 4 watches of the night are something like that. I'm not used to it now. So 2 o'clock is going to remind me, I remember something, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that's right. So from 2 till 6 again is the end of the previous day. So this now, it's around 4 a.m., I think, is the end of yesterday for a monk. In an hour's time, as the sun just below the horizon